Miss Lauren, it's Joey Myers from the Hitting Performance Lab. So I can tell you've been putting some work in, and especially on the landing shorter. So this is a month ago swing. This is this most recent swing, and I want to put exclamation mark on a couple things, or one of the things you guys are doing here. So I'm going to play this just in normal motion or normal speed as we're working out. The rest of your swings there were pretty good balance. That one was just a little bit off. So that right there, that's what I want you to kind of mark. And I'm going to make a note of what I think you guys are doing. And I might be wrong, but so again, you just did it again. Okay, so you did that twice. So in between swings, now my assumption, what you're doing here, which is great if this is what you're doing, or if you're not doing it and you're just kind of, I don't know if dad's throwing to you or who's throwing to you, where you're breaking in the middle and you're actually working on the landing shorter with the knee, right? So if we look at the first swing that we took and we split screen it with a month ago swing, so we can see at landing, there's the knee there. You're starting to weight the front leg, get a little bend there as you weight, but not a lot of bend there in that front knee. This first swing kind of looks like that. You can see right there, same kind of knee motion. And then what you do is you take a kind of like a phantom rep where there's a ball that's thrown, but you're just kind of landing, working on it. Okay, so you got that there. And then you got the next rep where you're actually swinging. Look at the difference in the knee from the first swing in this one over here. A little bit more bend than you do over here. So again, that's what it's all about when we're working these mechanics. That's what it's all about. So what you guys are doing where you do a phantom rep in between, where you're just working, you're not swinging the bat, you're just kind of working on landing shorter, huge, because you're getting that feeling. And then I think I told your dad, Lauren, that when you're working on mechanics like this, especially getting shorter or even staying shorter, those mechanics are really hard to do or hard to work when you're hitting a ball, a live pitch, because your brain, you got timing involved, and your brain wants to, all young hitters, not just yours, but your brain wants to crush this ball and put it through the net, put a fire hole through the net. But we have to suspend that in the beginning when we're working on something new, a new motor skill like landing shorter. And some of the things we're gonna continue to work on in this session. But you have to use process first as your high priority. So whatever your process is, what is it you're working on? I'm working on landing shorter. So that process needs to be number one priority, not how far or hard you're hitting the ball. That, of course, we're kind of taking mental notes and we're observing those things, but they shouldn't be the first thing that you should be focusing on. You could swing and miss. I tell my hitters, you could swing and miss, but if you're landing shorter, like this swing here, if we swung and missed on this swing, this is an A swing to me, because this is exactly what we're working on, right? I know from experience, from my hitters, teaching my hitters, that the results will come. You just have to get comfortable with the movement, and that movement has to become default when you're tired, whatever. That movement has to be, once it becomes default, then the results start to come, or the outcomes start to come. Not even totally default, but at least 80% of the time. So 8 out of 10 swings, you're getting shorter. That's when we start getting those results, when your body gets more fluid in the motion itself. It's not as awkward. Okay, so I wanted to give you a big pat on the back for that, because that's huge. Landing shorter and how you guys are kind of working that. Because the process, as you know, Lauren, the process is tough. Like, it's frustrating. It's frustrating to learn something new. I tell my parents, my dad, sometimes that might lose sight of that, and I know Brian knows this from experience, being from the golf background. But a lot of times the parents are frustrated because their kid's not getting something that they should be getting. But then I say, well, what if I told you, if you're right-handed, you write right-handed, and I told you to turn around and write left-handed? That's exactly what's happening when we're learning a new motor skill. It's different, it's awkward, it's goofy, but after a while, the more we get into it and press into it and deep, deliberate practice, the more comfortable we get. So big pat on the back there. Also, balance. So pretty good with your balance, except for that first swing, which maybe was the first swing of this thing here, but we kind of fell off just a little bit, but it wasn't like earlier swings that we've taken, so you kind of fell off just a little bit, but not that bad. So balance looks great, and also staying sideways. I know I've talked to you about this before. You can even see it over here where you get that back foot sideways. Looks great. So you got some good stuff going. So here's what we're going to work on. Okay, Dad was concerned with the kind of the shoulders in that upward as we're approaching. You can see your foot's getting close. You haven't weighted that foot yet. It's just kind of tapping down about right there. And we can see the shoulders are shifted up slightly. Okay. And at landing, when you weight the front leg, and I talked to Dad about this, what's going to happen is the shoulders are going to be level once you start weighting, because you're going to go like a Donaldson, if we're talking about a Donaldson or Sierra Romero or whatever, there's a transition between the frames. So we talk about being down with the shoulders as close to landing as possible. And of course, at landing, when we weight the front leg, the shoulders aren't going to be down. They're not going to be able to be down in order to get the barrel around and hit the ball with any kind of force. But I try and get my hitters to think, stretch it out, try and keep it as long as you possibly can until your brain goes, Lauren, swing the bat, start turning, right? Because most of the time my hitters are releasing too early. So we want to stretch my hitters as far or as close to landing as possible, whether it's showing the numbers in downward shoulder angle, which we're going to talk about in this session. So this is for, I have a couple hitters that have a hard time with the shoulder angle thing. And the big thing that I want, or that I teach, that I seem to have a pretty good success rate with my hitters, or my hitters have a good success, so it's not me doing it, it's my hitters, is the back elbow. And I might have mentioned this last time, but you can see where your elbow's at. You can see it's underneath, it's right here. It's actually underneath your bottom hand. And you hold your hands in a good position. Maybe, the top hand is slightly above your back shoulder. So they're slightly higher than I would say. But what I do with the shoulder angle, in order to get that shoulder angle, is I tell my hitters to get that back elbow up as high or at level. So with you, I wouldn't want to go any higher than your top hand because your hand's already slightly high. So getting that back elbow at level with the top hand. And what that's going to do is that's going to bring this shoulder angle down. You don't have to physically like take your front shoulder and bring it down. I've tried that with my hitters, and they haven't had as much success rate with it. But when we bring the back elbow up, that seems to kind of carry the shoulders with it, and that gives us a nice downward angle. So a couple things are happening here. So we're releasing a little early, so we get to landing. And if we had a pitcher's view here, I'd be interested to see in a pitcher's view if we're actually showing the numbers in this frame. This actually looks like our front shoulder's pointing at the pitcher. Doesn't look like we're showing our numbers anymore. And I'll show you. I have better footage of major league hitters, obviously, because there's more out there. But I'll show you Donaldson in a second, Josh Donaldson. And so what we want to do is show those numbers as long as possible, as close to landing as possible, and downward shoulder angle as close to landing as possible. Of course, at landing, when the foot gets weighted, those shoulders are going to be more at level, and we will see that with Donaldson. But we want to, as a hitter, our goal the feel of it is to get it as close to landing as possible. Okay, so those are two things. The other thing that's happening is what I call a reverse C shape with the spine. Okay, reverse C. So you can see with the head, if I drew a line down your head, spine, and back leg, we're going to get this C, like you draw a C. I don't know, can I do it just with the draw thing here? I don't know if I've used this before. Let's see. So like this shape right here. Okay, instead of like a normal C, which would be like this. That would be more of a lefty. And so a reverse C for a righty is not good. So we're putting a lot of strain and pressure on the low back when we're doing this. And the head is, you can see the head is shifting back. Let me get rid of that one. So the head is shifting back. Let's see if we can, I always mess this up. So head is shifting back. We got rib cage is kind of out in no man's land. The head's out in no man's land. The rib cage is shifting out into no man's land. And we got the pelvis that is kind of, you can see this misalignment of our head, rib cage, and pelvis. So what we want to do is we always want to have this nice lean from you have this lean, I could see you're working it, so the back leg through the head, but we want to have these somewhat stacked, almost like bricks on top of each other, but slightly off. Okay, slightly off center, or off, not completely flush on each side. So we want this angle, but we also want our head, rib cage, and pelvis stacked. Okay, so the problem now, what's happening is, I know last time, and I don't know how much time you put into this, Lauren, but the hunch posture, this is something that's very hard. I mean, I can't really see if you're doing that right here. It looks like you got normal straight back or neutral spine or whatever you want to call it. Doesn't look like we're hunching at all. The hunch posture actually makes it easier to show numbers and have downhill shoulders. My hitters that I work with this, you've sat in this position before, you know this position. If I told you to sit on a bucket, like a ball bucket that has no backing, and you had to play video games for 4 hours, what position would you sit in? And you can just, I would like you to do this. Sit on that bucket, have your bat like between your legs, sit on that bucket, and then what I want you to do is grab your bat like you're gonna hit with both hands and put the bat on your shoulder, on your right shoulder. Stay in that position. And then I want you to stand up while maintaining the position from your lower back all the way up through your shoulders, that curve in your spine. I want you to keep that position as you stand up to hit. That should be the position. That's the hunched position. Most likely, when you stand up with that bat to try and keep that position, you're going to straighten your back out. Okay, I actually just worked with the hitter this weekend, local hitter, and it took him, we did that exercise, had him sit on the bucket, his 4-hour bucket sitting, video game playing back position. I had him grab his bat, had him stand up. It took him 5 times until he finally figured out that he's got to curve his back when he's standing, okay? You know the position, you've been in it before, you just haven't applied it to your swing, okay? And so what he observed, what he said was it made it so much easier to show his numbers. And we weren't really working on showing numbers for him. I think we were working down shouldering, but he said it made it easier for him to hold those positions better, and it felt better on his back during swings and things like that. So I would advise hunch position is going to be a big one because you're getting that reverse C shape. Now I'm going to put in an exercise, and I want you to do this along with your your training, if you do it before or after or however you want to do it. I want you to do it every other day though. And in the marching orders, I have the ones, how many sets and reps and the whole thing. It's actually timed. So what you're going to do is a hollow hold. It's a gymnastics pose, a hollow hold. And what you're practicing is pushing your lower back into the ground. It'd be like if you're laying on the ground with your legs straight out and your arms are going to be by your sides. And you're going to bring your chest up your chest and legs off the ground, and you're basically going to be, the only thing going to be touching the ground is your lower back and your pelvis, okay? So you're going to be holding your legs straight, pointing your toes, and you're going to be kind of creating a spoon or a hollow position with your chest, and that's why they call it the hollow position. So what that's going to do is that's going to help to strengthen your lower abdominals. That's going to get you into actually this hunch position. That's exactly what it is, except you're standing and doing it. So we're getting the back rounded and we're getting into a hunch position. Sorry, I just had a visit from my 4-year-old. So hollow hold. Now that's going to help your swing getting into the hunched position. So let me bring up a video of Donaldson real quick. So Lauren, real quick before we get to Donaldson, see, we're doing a hollow hold because you're getting into more of an extended position with your spine here. It's extended, or an arch. They call it in gymnastics an arch. We want to get you more into a flex, okay? So that's why the hollow position. All right, so let's go to Donaldson. Just want to show you, showing numbers downhill from the pitcher's view, okay? So you're going to see he's approaching, see foot, see toe hits ground about right here. Your shoulders start to be level. So as you can see the back elbow up above the top hand or in line with the top hand. You can see at about this point, his shoulders are starting to reverse and get to level, which is going to be about right here. But you're going to see down, and this is not what we're seeing at, let's see here, get to about right here. So we're still seeing it down. You can see the elbow. This is about at toe touch, about right here. We can see your shoulders are up. So an even better view of this, we're going to go and fast forward a little bit. Oh, we can see this one's always good too. Let's see if I can get to this one. Okay, this is a home run he hit. I think it was into 2015 in the playoffs, but you can see the down elbow is way higher, and it was pretty high this time. He's not quite as high anymore, but you can see there. And then you can see the back view. Let's see here. You can see this one right here. So got the elbows up, got the down shoulder showing the numbers, and the hips start to open now, but he's blocking those shoulders from opening to the last possible second. Okay? All right, if you got any questions on that, Miss Lauren, just let me know. But we got hunch posture to get you out of the reverse C shape. So we use the hollow hold as a strengthener, down shoulders, and showing numbers. Keep working hard, girlie. I'm proud of you.